Hello, welcome to a new video on Dplyr Package. In this video, we are going to talk about two very important functions that will help you to generate the data summary: group by and summarize. And most often, these two functions are used together. Okay, so if you're not really interested in looking at the data set running in thousands of lines, but you are particularly more keen in looking at the central tendency of the data. That means what is the median of the data looks like, what is the mean value of that particular variable looks like, how much of the variation that value has, something like that, then you can generate the summary statistics using summarise function. So we are going to generate the summary statistics of IMDb movies database. Okay, so let me start by loading the tidyverse library. And the dataset that we will be working upon is IMDb movies dataset. IMDb stands for Internet Movies Database. The CSV file is also available on my Github repository. If you want to download it, then I've given the repository link in the description, or you can directly get the data into your R environment by using read.csv function. You have to just type in the HTTPS address between the quotation marks, and that should give the data set into your R environment. Fine. So let me load the data. So let me first use the glimpse function. So let's check few rows. Movies database. Then you can see there are 3,725 rows, 18 columns. And this data set is related to all the information related to the movies released way back in 1920, I think till 2014. So it has genre, language, the country of origin, various ratings, various Facebook likes for the actors, cast, directors, the gross revenue that's generated, and of course the budget. So it has lots of information, and we are not really interested in looking at the entire data set. We are interested in looking at the summary of this data. So to start with, let's generate the summary stat of gross revenue. So movies data. So I will use the summarise function here. Now the way summarise function works is, whenever it generates the summary statistics, it creates a new column. So you will have to name the new column. In this case, since we want to generate the mean of gross revenue, so I will be naming the new column as mean revenue, something like that, equal to mean function, and this mean function will generate the mean of gross revenue variable. So let's check. So you can see that the mean revenue for all these movies way back from 1920 to 2014 is coming out as $49 million. But that is not really going to tell us any story about the data. That's only the number. What about we want to check the mean revenue across various genres? Now that will going to give us a lot much more insight than simply looking at a one single mean revenue value. So let's generate the mean value for various genres. Now in order to do so, first we need to group the data set into various genres, and this we can able to do with the help of group by function. So we have 3,725 rows, and all those rows I'm going to group by genre, right? And then I will generate a summary statistics, mean revenue equal to mean of gross revenue. Now let's check. So this is much more insightful than a mere single value that we have generated. It gives me the mean revenue across each genre. As you can see, there are 17 genres in the data set, and for each genre, this summary statistic is giving me the mean value. So there is a lot of information here. If you want to check the number of rows each group has, then you can use n function, n equal to n. So you can see that action has 900 rows, observations, adventure genre has 362 observations, and so on. Now we want to represent this data neatly in a good descending order, so we will use slice max function. We want to arrange this data using mean revenue values in descending order, and perhaps we are interested in looking at only 15 observations, top 15 observations. Now you can see the data set arranged in descending order, and the highest genre, the genre that has generated the highest mean revenue is family. Now that is very interesting because you can see there are only 3 observations belonging to the family genre, and it requires a careful attention because based on only 3 observations we really can't able to infer anything out of this. So we need more data to come to the conclusion that out of all the genre available, the family genre has created more revenue. So can you see now how much of the insight we could able to generate merely using the group by and summarize functions, right? So generate the summary statistics of gross revenue and profit by genre and country. Now this is interesting. So movies data. Now in this case, I will group the data using 2 variables. The first is a country and second variable is genre. Okay, and summarize. First will be the mean revenue equal to mean of gross revenue, and second observation would be profit. So I will create a new column called profit. Profit is revenue minus the budget, right? So gross revenue minus the budget. So that should give me 2 columns. Profit is gross revenue minus the budget, and as you can see that some of the genre have generated the loss. Negative profit is loss. Okay, fine. Now if you are interested in checking the number of observations, you can use n column, and you can also filter out those genres which has generated loss. So I will filter out genres which have generated loss. So these are the genres which have generated the loss for that particular country. Right? Useful? Perfect. Now you have grouped the data, you have generated the summary statistics, now you have generated the insight, now you want to recreate your original data. So you will have to ungroup it using ungroup function. So movies, data, you will have to simply use ungroup function to ungroup the data, and you can see that the entire data set has been recreated, 3725 rows. All the groupings have now ungrouped into the original data set. Generate the summary of the data with missing values. So can you use summary functions, group by functions on the variables having the missing values? So let's check. So I've created this test data set which has the missing values. Now I will generate the summary statistics on this. So group by X and summarize. Let me see, summarize total. So in this case I will use sum function on Y. So let me check whether it is generating the, yeah, you can see that I've grouped the data A, B into A, B and C, but for A and B it has given me the missing values, the output, but for the C it has given me the sum of all the observations falling under the group C. Now why it is so? Because any statistical function in R that you use doesn't work upon the missing values. So you will have to tell explicitly that function that, look, whenever you encounter a missing value, you have to simply ignore that. You can do that with the help of na.rm function, na.rm argument, and you will have to use na.rm flag equal to true. By default it is false, but in this case explicitly you have to mention na.rm equal to true. Now if I use the summarize function in this case, and it has generated given me the sum of the groups A and B as well, because now the sum function has simply ignored the observations with na values and generated the summary, generated the sum of rest of the data. Fine. Let's quickly recap. Group by, summarize, these are the two functions that we used in this video. Group by converts the data set into group data, where operations are performed by group. And once you group the data, once you analyze the data, generated the insight, you have to again recreate the original data. You can recreate the original data with the help of ungroup function. Similarly, summarize function is used to generate the statistical summaries. Because the summarize function generates the new columns, it creates a new data frame, it returns one row for each combination of grouping variables. Remember, we have created the groups by genre, and for each genre we could able to get the mean revenue for each of the group. Great. So let me stop here. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also click on the like button, click on the subscribe button so that you get notified, and most importantly, please put on your suggestions, comments in the comment section of this video. That would really help me improve on my content and delivery. I will see you soon. Take care and goodbye.